stopping that.
Hold on. Secretary, hold on a minute. I'm going to reclaim my time because I got 18 seconds now. We're not in a debate. This is a hearing. I submitted several questions to be answered at a later date. The NRC and FERC have both responded, but the DOE has not. Do you have a commitment? Are you going to commit to responding to my questions over the next 30 days?
I'm not sure about over the next 30 days, but definitely we will commit to responding to your questions. I know it's in a review process, but we're also happy to sit and with you in person and brief too on answers, but it is in a review process right now.
Madam Secretary, this was January. It is now May.
Yep.
You got 4 or 5 people sitting behind you. What other review processes do you need to answer just one member's questions from Congress?
Believe it or not, it's beyond them. It's
oh, I know it's beyond them. Let's move on. Let's talk spent nuclear fuel.
Yeah.
We have roughly 88 metric tons of spent nuclear fuel. It's for the people watching this hearing, it basically takes up the size of one Olympic pool. Many countries, including France, one of our great friends and partners around the globe, they have invested in recycling spent nuclear fuel now. And the amount of spent nuclear fuel we have in the United States, we could power the United States for roughly 400 years. Is the DOE actually going through and exploring recycling spent nuclear fuel rods instead of the constant conversation and dogma about nuclear waste that is present in the United States? Do you think recycling spent rods is actually in the nation's interest?
I do, and we are looking at that, and I'm excited that you're interested in it as well, because I think that's a program that we should continue to fund.
All right, so when you say interested, what does that mean?
It means we've got labs that are working on the research related to it. I know that we've funded a couple of companies as well that are also doing that. We think that it is an important aspect of how we deal with nuclear waste.
Okay. All right, good. I want to follow up with you on that because we should be using all that stuff at our disposal. I'm glad that my colleague from Tennessee, Mr. Burchett, spent time with you talking about modular reactors and microreactors, so I'm not going to go down that line. I think it's important for the American people to understand that the future of baseload power in the United States, from everything from AI, quantum, digital assets, to our current needs from an energy apparatus, we are going to need massive amounts of baseload power. And wouldn't you agree that solar panels and wind turbines are not going to be able to fulfill that need?
Well, if you add batteries, they become more baseload-like, but certainly I'm not saying that one has to be at the expense of another. I think both can happen.
Secretary, I think you would agree that battery technology really has not changed that much since the Duracell.
Oh,
and
it has, sure,
it really
has.
I think
you can have a conversation about that. It definitely has changed.
I want to go back to a colleague with the gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Higgins, because he went down a line of questioning with you about the administration's pause on liquid natural gas. For decades, the Department of Energy's position on liquefied natural gas has been that it is safe, it is clean, and it is actually in the nation's interest for it to be procured and then also used in the United States and obviously transported and traded around the globe. In short, what has changed at the Department of Energy?
Yeah, the only thing that has changed is that the volumes that have increased so much, we need to take another look. It's not that the ones that have been approved are not in the nation's interest. They were and they are, and they're going to continue to operate. It's the question of how much more new expansion and what will be the impact in the United States. So if we export our natural gas, what does that do for, if we export, we produce right now about 100 BCF of natural gas, a little bit more. If we export the amount that's authorized currently, which is 48 BCF, that's about half. What does that do to prices at home? That's a question.
Let me ask you this question. Do you believe that just in basic supply and demand, that more supply on the market actually decreases prices? And wouldn't a decreased price actually be to the benefit of the public interest?
For sure it would be.
So then what are we talking about, Secretary?
So this is what we have to look at. So one of the questions that we are looking at, we also have to take a look at what it does for global supply, our allies, all of that.
And again, this is a good conversation, but you know, congressional hearings, our time's limited.
Yes, sir.
Considering what is happening right now in Ukraine, isn't it in the public's interest here in the United States to increase exports of liquefied natural gas to cut down the ability of the Russian regime to actually earn money in the open market?
We are exporting natural gas. We are not stopping that.
Hold on, Secretary, hold on a minute. I'm gonna reclaim my time because I got 18 seconds now. We're not in a debate. This is a hearing, but you have put a pause. and you're saying it's in the public interest, but you can't really identify what the public interest is because it's in the public's interest for prices to go down. It is in the American public interest to try to limit the ability of the Russian regime to earn more money on the open market with their resources. Wouldn't you agree with that?
The pause does not affect that. Everything is still
The
going
price
forward.
does affect their ability to earn money to wage war, Madam Secretary.
Sir,
you know that just like I do.
It does not right now. This pause is for a brief period of time to update a study. It doesn't
How long is the
affect
pause?
any of that. It will be finished.
I would argue, Madam Secretary, that the pause that you are doing is against the law because you have not finalized your parameters and what you're looking at. And any events of that being finalized, you do need to execute the permits that are waiting. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.